Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. Please like and subscribe because it means a lot to me. If you're returning, then thank you so much for coming back, and your support is greatly appreciated. You know who you are. I've got some really good subscribers and followers. So today, what are we doing? I'm part of a swap group where we do different things every month, and this month was a fun fold. Now, I don't really do fun folds. I find them, I like doing cards as cards. However, most of my card blanks are either square ones or the normal sort of, you know, rectangular ones, but I do all sorts of different sizes. So easiest way to do a fun fold is to take whatever card blank you want and score a fold. Now you can do this at this is a just under 6 inches, so I've done this at about 1/3, but you can make it as big or as small as you want. And then once you've scored it, you fold it back, and that will actually just glue down, and that's your fold. Really simple, really easy, and it means that there's lots that you can then play with the card. So I've just got some patterned paper. This was from Indigo Blue, which is lovely paper called Abstract. 12 pieces, 8x8s, and they're all different designs, which is nice. And I've just chosen something that was autumnal, and I've cut. Again, this paper isn't directional, which is nice, so I can have it the way I want. I wanted that little bit of blue out, so I've basically cut it with about 1/4 inch border, and I say about because it's not exact. That will go down there. This piece will then go in on top, and I can have that at the top or the bottom. I think I'll probably have that one at the bottom, so that brings it out to there. And again, that is approximately, but I think it's probably a little bit bigger than that. I just took a strip off. This piece is then going to go in like this, and I will probably cut that down just a tad, because when I open that, maybe not, that'll come there. You've got enough to write on there. So that is going to be how it's going to look. Now, I was trying to think of whether I was going to add anything more to this, and to be quite honest, I don't think I am. I think I'm going to have it as it is. So let's just glue those pieces down so we know where we are. So the first piece that we're going to put on is this piece. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of wet glue. You can use whatever glue you want, and I'm just going to stick this in down on here. I really like this paper because it's slightly shiny, not a huge amount, but just slightly shiny. So I need to make sure that this edge is where I want it, because this is going to go right up to the corner, so that doesn't matter too much. And then that's going to come down and glue in there. So we can just take this piece now and we can glue this piece down. And this is why I don't do too many folds, because it's the postage. You know, if it gets too thick, then you're in a situation where you've got to get the next size up in postage, whereas this is still going to be thin enough to go through the mail, which is good for me. So that's there. Then I've got the, what have I done with the thinner piece? There it is. So this one we were going to have coming down at the bottom, I think. Yes. So let's have this one in there. And as I say, I think it's a little bit bigger, but I don't really mind because I want that part to show. So I'm just putting some glue in on here, and then this is going to go. Now all I want to do is to make sure that it is the same top and bottom. which it is on here, and then you get that sort of, you know, nice distinguished part between it, and then this one is going to go in on here, and I am going to have it that size because I don't want it to, I want it to be able to fit in nicely. But again, size wise, all you've got to do is to work out exactly, there's no exact measurement, if you see what I mean. I've just taken this one piece which was 8 by 8, and all I've done is to just cut those pieces down. Okay, so then you've got your fold, and I'm not giving you the exact measurements because you might not have a square card, but all you need to do is to just give yourself a bit of a border there and for this piece to go in. So you can see my borders are the same sort of size. I keep doing that. I've got a bit of silver on there from doing something at an earlier date. So now this is going to be autumnal. So it would make a nice Thanksgiving card. It will make a nice, just a normal sort of autumn card, fall card. And I'm going to use this lovely leaf. I really like this leaf. And this is from Tracy Evans, and it's called Leaf is Better. And it's number 981. These little stamps are lovely because you can do a lot with them. And you don't have to have, because I've got quite a nice background, I don't really want to do anything too much more apart from to have these leaves and maybe some words and things in, because I wanted to show you that you don't have to do lots and lots and lots of things. You can do something fairly simple. And as you know, I'm using lots of different products now because I really enjoy that. I think that variety, what do they say? Variety is the spice of life. And for me, it certainly makes a big difference. So I only want this leaf, but I'm going to just stamp it out. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I've just got a scrap here. So, and I think that this scrap will give me quite a few pieces. So if you're worried about it going exactly where you want it, you can turn it over, hold it with one hand, hold it with the other hand, give it a rub, and then pull it off, and you've got a really good image. So I'm going to do a few of these because I want these to be, to look you know, have autumn leaves. And I think they always say, what do they say about the power of 3? So I think I'm going to do 3 of them. Again, I just turn it over, really easy to do, and hold it in, and then pull it off, and again you get a perfect image. And let's have another. You can see how you could just fill up a whole card with this, because the way she's designed her stamps, you can see that everything sort of all fits in together. So you don't have to have the definition if you don't want to. I only want 3 of these, so I'm just doing it like this. But if I wanted to, I could just do a whole background with this, and it shows that even a small stamp like this you can use on a really big card. Okay, do you see what I mean? You've got all of this, it all just sort of blends in together, which I think is very clever indeed. So I'm just going to clean this off. I'm somebody who I have to clean up as I go. It's one of those things that I do struggle if I just leave it to one side and don't clean it up as I go. So but I'm going to put it to one side because can't remember where I've put the other side of that stamp. I'm sure it's not very, oh, there it is. Underneath here, isn't it? So let's just put it away because we don't need this one anymore. And as I say, the nice thing is that you can just take these out as and when you want them. The other piece of plastic. and they're a nice little size, they really are, which is good. I like all different sizes of stamps, but quite often these ones, they're the ones I reach to all the time. Right, I'm going to put that back in later on. Okay, so we've got 3 autumnal leaves, and I'm going to colour them in. What I'm going to do first of all, though, is to very quickly just cut them out. So it's quite an easy, I know some of you turn around and say, oh, I don't like fussy cutting, and I must admit I do. Now let me show you how I tend to do. So I've got 3 of these on here, which makes it quite difficult. So I tend to rough cut them round first, because if you rough cut them round first, then it's easier to just go round, and you haven't got all of this big sort of part on there. So I'm just rough cutting first. I will use, now anybody that's noticed, you can see these little circly pieces. I will cut those out and I will use them at a later stage, because there's all sorts of nice little bits and pieces that you can add to your cards with these Tracy Evans stamps. She tends to do lots of little bits of detail and things, so that you can just add a little bit here and there as you want it. So let me just cut through this one quickly, and we'll have a little chat as we're going. So how are you all doing? Hope you're all doing well, thinking about probably Christmas round the corner. It comes so quickly, doesn't it? And I spend Christmas, as you know, with my family. So I have 2 sons and 6 grandchildren. So I have Christmas Day with one family and Boxing Day with the other family, and we alternate it, so that I go to one year on Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day to the other one, and then turn it round and do it the other way for the following year, which is lovely. I'm very blessed that my family lives nearby. I've got a friend who's one of her sons lives in, daughters, she's got 2 daughters. One of her daughters lives in Australia, and the other daughter lives in New Zealand, and she's just about to go across for 6 months to stay. And she's got a 3rd daughter that lives in the UK, fairly near where she lives. So it's it's quite a journey to go across the other side of the world. And so, to say, she's going for 6 months, but it's still very difficult, when your family's a long way away. So I think all of us that have our family nearby are truly blessed. I certainly class myself as being very blessed, being very lucky. It's nice to have that family nearby, particularly as we get older. It's nice for us to have that connection, and not all of us have are lucky enough to be living with our partners or husbands or whatever. A lot of us unfortunately are now on our own. So if you don't have your family or your friends, it can be quite difficult. I must admit, I do have some very good friends, and I also class all of you that are regulars on here. I know that I've got some really good friends in America and Canada that have just become friends through watching my channel and communicating. And now we write to each other and send each other little bits and bobs and things, which is quite nice. So it is it's a community, and I suppose that's what I really wanted when I set this channel up a long time ago now. In fact, I've almost done 1,000 videos, which is ridiculous when I think about it. But, you know, again, it's my way of being able to sit and chat and communicate with you all. And I know, you know, some of you are not into the chit chat and you just want to see the cards and stuff, and that's absolutely fine. You know, it's my channel is for everybody. You can fast forward if you want to and just see what you want to see. You can come in and sit with a cup of coffee and have a good old listen to what I'm doing. Some of you will even sit and follow on and craft with me. Even if you're not doing exactly the same craft as me, you'll sit and craft for half an hour. So, you know, it is, it's nice. You know, I've formed quite a community here, and I think that that's great. So as I say, you know, if it's your first time in, then hopefully you'll enjoy my style. My style is very much, I do it as it happens, warts and all. You know, sometimes I'll do something and it'll go a bit wrong and we'll find a way of fixing it, and you know, I think that for me, that's what crafting is all about. It's about showing you ideas, techniques, things that you might find useful, but also showing it real, showing it how it happens, and whether it's a good experience, or sometimes, you know, I start something and I think, oh, I don't know whether this is going to come out all right. I don't prep very much at all. Again, I'm somebody who I like to do it as I would if I was making a card myself. So this is as I'm doing things for various different projects and stuff like that. You come along, join in with me, and, you know, we see where the journey takes us. And that's what I'm all about. I use various different stamps and products. I've started using products that are nearer to home because of my own personal wants to keeping my footprint fairly small. And I know that, you know, a lot of my viewers are in America and Canada and Australia. But again, it's one of those things that I think, well, you know, you can probably buy similar, or you can buy the same products, but you're just going to be using products that are, you know, rather than me buying things from America all the time or from Canada, I'm buying things from the UK and supporting smaller businesses that do ship internationally. But I think that that's quite good. So we've now got 3 of these, haven't we? I'm using my, again, British made in the UK, Derwent Inktense 24. Inktense because, as I've said to you, they are very, very intense. So we are going to do sort of autumnal, but I quite like the blue in there. So the leaves are going to be in, I think, probably willow, because that's quite a nice, is that one willow? There we are, that's willow. So I'm literally just going to go round on here, and I'm going to do each one, I'll do them both together. So let's make sure we're, yes, you are still in on here. Now what I could do is I could zoom you in a little bit, couldn't I? Let's see if I can zoom you in a bit while I'm doing the colouring part. So excuse me doing this bit. Okay, that's to there. Now I just need to move you across, don't I? So 1, 2, 3, there we go. Then you can see where I'm going. So if I put that way, then we can see where we're going. So all I'm doing is literally just colouring in on here. Now I could do the butterflies in sort of autumnally colours, but because this has got that bit of blue in on there, I'm going to do that. So literally I'm just, whoops, does help if I just do this bottom bit. So you can see I'm not overly working it. I'm literally just colouring it in little sort of circular type motions. That just goes there, doesn't it? Doing each one the same. This is a good idea if you're doing things, what I call bulk making cards. You know, we're coming up to, I know a lot of you start really early and have already got all your Christmas cards and things ready, but others don't start until sort of the middle of this month, and then do our cards then. I'm a bit of both, so I prepare some of them and then other ones I don't. I do sort of last minute. It depends what else I've been doing. So but yeah, so this, all I'm doing is, as I say, just colouring it across. I don't want it overly bright, so I'm not, this is very bright ink. There's a lot of pigment in these pencils, so I don't need to be overly intense with them. So I'm now going to do my butterfly in the blue. So let's have a look at these. It's probably almost a teal, isn't it? So let's try this teal green, which I think is probably this one. Is this one teal green? Let's have a look and see. Yes, teal green. So I'm going to have teal green with sherbet, I think. Let's try those two. I think those are going to be right. I might have a little bit of mustard in there just to tone it down a bit. Is that mustard? No, that's sun yellow. Mustard is next to it. There we go. That's mustard. Okay, so I'm going to use those three. So the teal is the colour that is going to be nearest to the papers. Whoa! Just sharpen that one, the nibs just come off. So what I do is I will take it into the centre and then down on the outside of these wings. So in on the centre here, and then out on this bit. And that, when you blend it, you'll find you'll have the dark at the edge and it makes it look really rather good. So let's do the same with this one. You see I turn my paper as well because I find it's easiest for me to work along where I'm colouring in rather than trying to do it all from one angle. So I literally just will take it and turn it round so I know that I'm just going up to the edge as I want it, and then this piece in on the centre. That's that one. And I do every single colour at the same time, so rather than doing, you know, one at a time. If you're only doing one, then that's fine, but as I said, if you're trying to do a few what do we call bulk card making, it's a good idea to do that. So that's that teal, which is rather nice. And then we've got the sherbet and the mustard. I think I'm probably going to go more for the mustard because that's going to bring it down a little bit. So I'm literally just taking this in because I want them to match through onto the paper as much as I can, and if you blend the colours in, that should work. Now I am going to just do a little bit of the sherbet, which is the brighter one, and just add that in. So by adding that in together, that just gives a pop of more intense colour, but it's not going to be neon because we've toned it down with the mustard. So this is the sherbet, which, as I say, is sort of a bright green. That's sherbet, and that's sun yellow. So that's a greeny yellow, and that's a yellowy yellow. Okay, so let me put those pencils out of the way for now and get my water brush, which is here. And I'm going to just add a spot of, this has dried out a little bit, so I'm just going to put a spot of water on my here to just water down the brush a little bit. Okay, so we then need to, let me make sure that I'm still in on here. Yes, I am. So now you're literally just going to, and you can see how as soon as you add the water, it blends that colour in beautifully. So I'm literally, and this is just on ordinary cardstock. It is a smooth cardstock. It's a 300 GSM because I quite like that. If I'm doing a cutout to stick on, I want to have something that's got a bit of robustness to it. But you can see it's beautifully. You see the difference between the two? You can blend these in really nicely. So I tend to, if I'm doing it myself, I will spend a little bit more time than I'm doing on this. As I've always said, for the video we tend to speed things up a little bit, but it is something that is, it does look really good once you've started just working it through, because you get all these lovely rusty tones, you know, when the leaves start falling, which they've, you know, the leaves are almost fallen now, and you have all these leaves down on the ground where you can, you know, walk through the leaves, scuffing up your feet and scuffing up the leaves, and that's that really lovely sort of scrunchy sound, which I think I really love. I don't like the autumn for the nights drawing in and it getting darker and darker and darker. You know, I do like the long days, but there is something quite nice about walking in the autumn and you know, spending time just outside. I'm lucky because, as you know, I have a sweet little dog, and I have to take her for a walk every day. Okay, so now we've got this one out of the way. Let me just give this a bit of a twist on again, because sometimes I find that it doesn't. It's coming through a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to do the butterflies. So I'm going to do the dark part first. Just blend those pieces in. And then I'm just going to take this bit in and just blend it into it. So you can see that it goes in from one to the other. Now I'm not cleaning my brush off from this, because by the time I've gone through, being the yellow being like darker, I can just sort of run it off on my hand a little bit. And then we're just blending this lovely colours. And you can see the difference between that, doing the two, the yellow and the mustard. So the sherbet and the mustard together look really nice. I think they just sort of blend beautifully, and then we can just take this bit in and blend that up in like that. So let's do this one. So I do my green ones first, out in on the side, and then I'll bring in this just blend it through. So you have a continuation of colour. You've got a good amount of definition, because that's what you want. So that this comes down in, and again, as I say, you know, I'm doing this quite quickly, but as soon as you take that in and just blend it through, you have those different colours coming through, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that tone, and it will go nicely with the papers because I've picked up that teal colour rather than doing it in blue, because if I'd done it in blue it would have thrown that colour. So always sort of, you know, look and see what colours you've got to match them in together. Okay, so those are our butterflies. Now let me just bring you out. Whoops, do the right way. Sorry for the slight woggle. Okay, so now we can put these in. So I can have one coming that way, maybe one in that way, I think. So I'm going to have two in on the front like that, and I'm going to have one, I think, maybe on the inside. I don't know whether I want to have, do I want to have this over the top? Yes, probably over the top, and then this one just tucked in underneath I think will work quite well. Okay, so let's just put these on. Again, it's a matter of just going for it. So let's just get these in. That's one. I'm going to glue them all first, because then I can position them as I want without them sticking too much to start off with. That's definitely going to go in the center. So I want, let's pick them up and go that way, don't I? So I want this one to come up here like that. And then this one is going to come over the top just slightly and go out that way. Okay, so those can go down on there. And then this one is just going to tuck in. So we've got, excuse me, a little bit of interest in on the inside. Okay, but I like the way it's picked up on that teal, so that's going to come in that way. So let's just pop him in like that, and then that one can go down there. Okay, so I tend to go to the other side just to make sure that it's glued down nicely without touching the corners, and that I think is looking pretty good. Okay, so we now need to add some little some speckles and things to it, and I'm not sure what words I'm going to use, so I'm going to do the words afterwards. But what I do want to do is to just add some, it's going to be autumn, so I think for me autumn is all about gold. So I think I'm going to just add a little bit of gold around the edge of this. So I want to take this right up to the edge of the paper, and I just want to add some gold in on here. So I'm making sure that I'm going in on the line of the paper, as well as leaving just a little bit on the edge of the card. And gold just gives, gold is quite opulent, so is quite good for sort of Christmas, but it's also quite good for autumn and things because you've got that really nice sort of in between. Now, do I do down through on the centre? Yes, I do, because I've got this in here. So what I need to do is to go from here down to where that leaf is, and then down on the other side, and then I'm going to turn it round the other way, because I always have. Now my ruler has got a metal edge to it. It's a really old ruler. It belonged to my grandfather, and it is brilliant because it's got a metal edge to it. It says me, I didn't use the metal edge, but it's got a metal edge to it, which makes it really rather good. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to do exactly the same with these ones. So we'll just have this in on here. The metal edge does make a big difference because you've got a really nice firm edge to come down, and that does, you know, make quite a bit of a difference. And these are, if I didn't say to you, I think most of you know now anyway, but these are the Posca pens. They're great for splatters, they're great for edges, and that's what I use them for. Okay, so you can see you've got that nice little bit of gold in on there. You've got this nice little bit on there, and it just frames it and edges it nicely. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we want to have some splatters on there. Now, splatters make a big difference because they just sort of tie everything together. So I'm going to do my splatters in black and white because that stands out the most. And we've stamped in black and we've got white cardstock, so that works quite well. And what I tend to do is, or what I found that's worked for me, is to use something which is quite hard. So something like a bone folder. Shake your pen first, and you can do it with large or small. So let me get my large ones out as well. So you can get Posca pens in different sizes. So I have fine tip and I have larger tip. So if I'm doing larger tip, then I will just take, need to make sure that I'm going to just put that on there actually, because and you just literally tap it and you just get little black splots and things coming out. Says me, I don't think there's any coming out on there. Let me just do that. Yes, it's coming out. Okay, so those are little tiny ones, and then what I tend to do is I will do little spots like this, and then I'm going to do it in the white. So we've got little spots in white, and then let me just make sure that I've got this on here. See on here I'm getting nice little splatters. Which is quite nice, and then I can just add some little ones like that in on here, and I just want to do a few like that in on the inside, and then just a couple with the black. Like that. Okay, then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that dry for now, and then I'm just going to put a sentiment in there, and I will do what I always do, is put a line round the sentiment. I might do it in the gold, I might do it in the other, but that's as far as I'm going to take it now, because we are we're getting a bit tight for time now, and I don't want it to go on and on and on and on. But I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well, please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.